Everyone, welcome to this episode of Breakthrough Innovation. With us today is Kathy Keating, a visionary CTO, executive coach, and co-creator of the renowned CTO Levels Framework. With a mission to empower technology leaders, Kathy brings a unique approach to leadership, strategy, and innovation by leveraging systems thinking. Her work focuses on unlocking growth, optimizing organizational flow, and building resilient companies that thrive in a competitive landscape. Kathy's groundbreaking insights emphasize that true innovation goes beyond generating new ideas. It's about understanding and wielding the complex systems within a business to drive sustainable growth and transformative results. Join us as Kathy shares her wisdom on how leaders can master strategy, recognize interconnected processes, and unlock their organization's full growth potential. Kathy, thank you for being here. I'm really excited to dive into this. I'm a big fan of systems thinking, so we appreciate it, and we're glad to have you on the show.
Well, thank you for that wonderful introduction. I'm happy to be here too. This is my favorite topic.
Good. We're going to dive in then. I do want to start, though. Tell us a little bit about yourself, where you come from, and kind of what got you here.
Yeah, so I've been a technologist all my career, and I was very blessed to work in AI back in the late 80s, early 90s, building commercial AI. We actually built a product in mobile telecom that took about 80% of the worldwide market, still exists today. HP owns it. And what was fascinating about that was we tackled something no one knew how to do, and we made it commercially viable. And that arc really played out throughout my career. I had a lot of first companies that made it really big, got to exits and lots of revenue. And so it's just really cool to have gone through a lot of firsts multiple times and to see a lot of successes in that pathway. I've also founded, I'm now in my fourth company. I've had my exit of my own with one of my companies. And so just really, I've seen a lot of what works, but I've also seen a lot of what doesn't work. And so that's really informed my career. So.
Well, sometimes it's what doesn't work that teaches us the most. So
Absolutely.
I love that.
We learn from failures, for sure.
Oh, yeah, so much. Now, you talk a lot about how true innovation is rooted in understanding the interconnected systems, which I love that perspective, because I think a lot of what makes innovation so special is that it's the unexpected connection. It's connecting things that no one else has connected before. So I'm curious if you can maybe elaborate a little bit, unpack a little bit on what you mean by how innovation and these interconnected systems work together, and what leaders need to know, and how it is really critical for driving growth and innovation in an organization.
Yeah, sure. So as humans, I'm just going to talk, the human natural tendency is to take really complicated situations and distill them down into simplistic terms. We hear it a lot, whether it's in technology or politics or whatever. Things are very, very, very complicated, and yet we can only understand them in simplistic terms. Well, why doesn't X just happen, or Y just happen, right? And so as humans, it's a natural tendency to see everything through simplistic or rose-colored glasses, so to speak, right? But the truth is the world isn't simple. It's very complicated, and our businesses and even our teams are very complicated. And so when we step back and we accept that the world around us is complicated and we have to treat it from that perspective, we end up finding that our interaction with the world around us to achieve the results we want has to be different. We can't just, one simple change doesn't radically change the culture of your company. Culture is a really good example because it's probably the most interconnectedness challenges that a business has is you can't just make a change and your culture changes. You have to influence change over time through multiple micro movements. The example I tend to give for people is just think about a very complicated manufacturing floor with gears and people operating lots of machines and machines handing things from one to another. That's how our business operates. All these things are interconnected. And you can only have the outcome of the product coming off of the line at the end by all those systems and all those people working together in tandem. And if one thing breaks, the whole thing breaks. And that's how companies go off the rails. Is they think I'm just going to make this one simple change, and they don't realize the interconnectedness of the systems within your business has second, third, fourth order effects of that simple change that you made.
It's kind
And
of like
so,
what
good.
are those machines that are overly complicated?
Rube
Uh,
Goldberg machines.
yeah, exactly.
Exactly. It's just like I use Rube Goldberg machine pictures all the time. It's just, yeah, it all has to work. And if you think about that, if you realize that your business is that interconnected and you have to plan as a leader for third, fourth, fifth layer effects of a change, your
Yeah.
perspective shifts to how you want to get to your outcomes. It's no longer, oh, I'm just going to fire this person or move that person or hire someone. It's not that
Yeah.
simple. It's just not magical like that. And I think when I think about that interconnected systems, when I coach people and do advisory work with companies, it's all to help them start to see that system at work and figure out how they're going to influence that change.
It's kind of like going from playing checkers to chess, right? And realizing you have a lot more options in terms of how the pieces can move. And then also going, that I don't play a lot of chess anymore, but when you start playing chess, you think one move ahead. And then you
Yeah,
realize, oh, no, that one move actually has a huge impact 6 moves down the line. And you start to understand and learn how to look 3, 4, 5 moves ahead and really understand those second order impacts, third order impacts. And that's a really transformative moment. It sounds like that's kind of like what you're talking about.
it's kind of, yeah, actually, going from checkers to chess is one step, but chess is actually a known, you can calculate the
Right. It's still
known,
a closed system.
it's a closed system, right? So I
Yeah.
actually compare it more to chess versus poker, which you'll get that where
There you go.
poker has luck involved. You can't know everything. You can't predict everything. You can't play out in your head because the person on the other side is going to play how they're going to play. And that's a
Yeah.
factor of luck. And that's a huge analogy used in the book Thinking in Bets by Annie Duke. For me, that was a pivotal moment to say, like, I can't know everything about how this system is going to work. There's always an element of luck. And so that's the same in our business. Is like, you can't know how every person is going to make every movement, how your clients are going to operate, what the macroeconomics are going to be. And so within your business, it is an open system. You can't know everything. And so you
Yeah.
just have to say, how much can I know and how much forward can I think so that I can de-risk the process? But also knowing that luck is always a factor there.
No, I like that though, like that shift to poker, because, in poker, you don't play the cards, you play the people.
Yeah,
And I think that's true in business as well, right? It is everything happens because of people. And if you don't understand that, and if you don't work with the people, you're leaving a lot of levers alone that you could be pulling.
absolutely.
Oh, love that perspective. Now, how does this all roll into the CTO Levels Framework that you co-created? And maybe just tell us more about that framework.
Yeah, absolutely. So once you recognize that business is complex, you start to understand that there are patterns for how things happen within a business, right? Everything isn't bespoke. Let's say there's a cultural shift you want to make. There's a pattern or a playbook that you can put in place to make those shifts, right? And so
Yeah.
and so that's how the CTO levels framework came into being. It's a co-collaboration between myself and two other CTOs, Etienne De Bruin and Scott Graves. And it was our way to codify these patterns and these playbooks that we had learned over the years as CTOs ourselves. A new CTO, first in their role, has no idea how to apply these patterns. Chances are they'll be faced with 100 or more decisions a day that they've never answered before. And the longer we take to answer those challenges, the more difficult it is to be successful in our role. So
Yeah.
the CTO level framework is designed to codify and make it clear to you for the stage of your company what you should be focusing on at that time to build a strong foundation. And as your company grows, you need to be focusing as a CTO on different aspects. So like if you're 100-person team, it's very different than a 2-person team.
Right.
Your focus, your question, your problems you're faced with. And so the CTO level framework is designed to be able to codify that and to help you simplify the complexity of the system in which you're operating so that you can apply patterns to solve problems. And that's really what we want to do with system thinking in general, is how do we categorize the system in which we're working with and see patterns so that we can apply playbooks to those patterns. That's how That's how a person gets from a simplistic view to a systems thinking view. There
Yeah.
are patterns. For example, in the CTO Levels Framework, we believe the CTO job is about 4 emergent properties: speed, which is delivery to market; stretch, which is continuously learning; shield is protecting you from threats; compliance, security; and then sales. You're always selling ideas, whether they're internal or external. You always need to build sales skills, right? And so if you distill the complexity of the CTO job down to those 4 emergent properties of the system of being a CTO, now you can start applying patterns. And
Right.
so a lot we do in the CTO Levels Framework. Obviously, the framework is totally open. People can utilize it however they want. We use it in our coaching, our advisory, our fractional CTO work. There's a CTO community called CTO Levels that uses it as a curriculum. And then we're going to the editor this week for the first book that comes out
Oh,
of
congratulations.
Levels. So looking forward to that. And it's about this concept of the system and understanding how to leverage it in your job. So
That's awesome. When's that book coming out?
hopefully in the next quarter or so. So
Awesome. Well, let us know, and we might be able to add the link to the show notes and things like that so people can
great.
download it, because I think this sounds amazing. I'm curious though, like as you think about how this framework sounds like it gives CTOs shortcuts to decision making. That might be the wrong way to say it. Like the patterns are ways for them to recognize common decisions and impacts so they can have the impact they want. How do you connect it to innovation and a company's ability to get above the day-to-day and actually create creative solutions?
Yeah, if you think about the proactive versus reactive challenge, if every situation you're presented with hundreds a day you've never seen before, you're living in a reactive world. You're spending
Right.
hours trying to solve each of those problems and you're not innovating. So our goal here is there are rote tasks, there are rote situations and rote patterns for how to do things in a business. You should be leveraging those. And so that's what the
Yeah.
framework gives you. And what that does is, as you master that delivery to move really fast there, then you open up this ability to be innovative and proactive about your job. And so the goal is handle the rote stuff as fast as you possibly can, get really good at that, make it flow really effectively, and then spend your time as a CTO being innovative,
Right.
having dialogues, creating connections, and delivering value, right? And so that's
Yeah.
really the goal here is how can you live in that innovative space as much as possible.
It's a
We
little bit of
actually
the
work
Steve.
with a lot. We actually work with a lot of CEOs too, because
Yeah.
CEOs are not getting what they need from their CTOs, and so we
Mm.
have a full assessment process where we come in and I help a CEO better understand their tech, but also help create that roadmap.
It's a little bit of the Steve Jobs mindset, right? I'm going to wear the same turtleneck and jeans every day because that just saves that little bit extra
Right.
of willpower and mental power to do something more innovative and creative.
Yeah,
So I love that.
I wear blue every day, so that's my Steve Jobs moment.
There you go. That's a good color to pick. Now we're kind of getting close to the wrap up point, but before we get there, I'm curious if there's just kind of that one shift or one thing that you would pull from the framework and emphasize for leaders today. What would that be?
Yeah, so I would say the one thing that will help a leader start to see the system. So right now, many people are blind to the system that's working in their world. And so, like, the first thing is to see the system. And I would say for a CTO, especially, try to see your job, everything in your job from the perspective of whether it's speed, stretch, or shield, or sales problem.
Mm.
And that's the framework. So you can go to the framework and see that. You'll find that the vast majority of stuff going on in your world falls into those 4 categories. If you can categorize things, you can simplify them. And if you simplify them, you can apply a pattern.
Love it.
And that's where I'd say the mindset shift for leaders is to start to not see everything as bespoke, but see the patterns at play.
No, I love that. I love that. Kathy, this has been an amazing conversation. If people are looking to get into contact with you or to work with you, where should they go?
They can go to ctolevels.com. I'm accessible there. They can go to Kath Keating, no Y, kathkeating.com. That's my website, my personal website where I run my advisory work, or LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn as well. So any of
Perfect.
those 3 areas, just you can find me.
Awesome. Well, Kathy, thank you so much. This has been great. Really appreciate all your insights. For everyone else who's made it all the way to the end of this, thank you as well. And then we'd love it if you leave a rating or a review on whatever platform you're listening from. And if you know anyone who could benefit from the CTO framework or who could use some help, just kind of learning some of the systems and patterns that would really help free up time for actual innovation, send them this episode, introduce them to Kathy. I think it'd be a great way to share the value. And lastly, remember to take one actionable insight from today, apply it, and let us know how it goes, because we think continuous improvement is critical, and we'd love to hear about how you're progressing. So, Kathy, thank you again. And everyone who's listening, thank you as well. And we'll see you all next time on Breakthrough Innovation.
Thank you.